Go.
Hey, welcome back, MobilityWOD. I'm standing here with two of my superstar coaches, and one of the things that we've been undergoing here in kind of our rigorous testing is what happens when you put a medicine ball, 20 or 30 pound medicine ball, in your shirt and carry it around as a good athlete coach. What we found is that it obviously impacts your performance because you have to basically double your wattage output, right? Is that pretty much? No. Here's what we're talking about today. We have two working coaches and great athletes. We're going to just give you a basic template for dealing with issues of pregnancy or hypermobility, which are largely the same thing. In that first trimester, you guys, I don't, but one who is in your condition puts out a ton of a hormone called relaxin, which ironically makes you very, very flexible. Isn't that weird? And what we want to talk about is what's appropriate to change, what's appropriate not to change. So come on over for a second, because I want these coaches to talk about their experiences here. When we deal, I learned this lesson. All right, here we go. When we deal with kind of talking about systems in MobilityWOD and in our course, we prioritize, and the first issue that we prioritize is motor control. And that what we want to make sure is the athlete in a good position? Do we have control through range of motion? Do we have expression of motor control and movement? The second piece we deal with usually, largely, is sliding surfaces. And the sliding surfaces are dealt with lacrosse balls, roll around on the roller, you know, it could be some flossing. Third piece then is joint capsule. Dealing with a stiff joint capsule or joint system. And the last piece of that is what we usually call muscle dynamics. And clearly, if we have an athlete that's hypermobile or has a hormone that's making joints soft, and these athletes, we'll talk about that in a second, because both really good squatters and good athletes, is that what we end up doing is we sort of take off joint capsule business. We take off a lot of the end range muscle dynamic stretching because those insertions get a little bit soft. And what we're left with is really prioritizing motor control in our athletes, put them in a good position, maximize joint stability, joint congruency, and then if we have things we need to deal with, we deal that with the sliding surfaces. Because it's okay to roll around on a ball if you're stiff, or to kind of deal with some trigger pointy, kind of grody tissues, but you know, because certainly things hurt. But what we want to do is avoid taking our athletes to end range, big kind of, or do end range static-y stretching, or even kind of end range muscle force stuff. That will happen. Now, there's a lot of information about dealing with athletes that are pregnant, and I think it's CrossFit Mom. Have you guys used any resources? Check those sites out.
I've been on CrossFit Mom a few times.
CrossFit Mom. The main thing is that, you know, generally when we have an athletic population of pregnant women, you guys have let your signs and symptoms be your guide the whole time, right? And both of these guys have been training for and continue to train for a long time until what happened?
I got too mobile.
I got too mobile. How did you know you got too mobile?
Well, for me particularly, it was my pelvis just became very unstable.
So you felt like at the pubic symphysis,
Yeah.
it became. What is the expression of that instability? What did that feel like?
Well, I mean, for instance, here I would pick up a box and I would brace it, or I'd pick up a 45-pound plate, brace it, and then all of a sudden it was like, feel it moving.
Feel it moving. There you go. So. Done. So here's the issue: is that we really want to maintain a sprung pelvis. You know what's funny about a sprung pelvis? Nothing's funny about a sprung pelvis. And one of the issues we know is that our athletes are overextended all the time. It's weird. We try to get out of that girl belly.
I try to show flexion with my clients, and I'm like, it's not happening.
Let me show you overextended though. Oh, well, we're already there. Fantastic. So, and then you had some other issues. That what happened?
I had some round ligament pain.
And what was that exacerbated by feeling like you wanted to stretch?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things where even though you get into a situation where you don't necessarily know what you want to do, it's pain and it feels awkward, but you feel like you want to stretch it out, but you know that if you do, you're taking it too far. So it's really kind of touch and go. You have to really listen to your body.
Yeah. So listening to your body, respecting those end ranges. And you'll notice that, you know, prenatal yoga is a very popular, you know, model for this, which is really about expression of movement and motor control, not necessarily hanging out end range. And I think that anyone who's working with athletes in this condition, especially maybe need a doctor's clearance, you know, if they're starting a new program, but your other athletes will tell you explicitly what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And Corinne was doing power cleans until recently.
Well, squat cleans felt great in the beginning up until 20-some weeks, and then all of a sudden it was like...
And you knew right away, right?
Yeah.
And that's right. So, did you have any kind of key ideas for our athletes out there?
Yeah, I still like
still like squatting.
I still like squatting.
And that's still on the table, right? Very much. But we don't necessarily need to do aggressive mobilization. Motor control, full range of motion, absolutely okay. Maybe thinking about aggressively hammering joint capsules or end range static holds or doing some contractile axis end range muscle dynamic stuff. Maybe curtail that stuff as a general rule because you're going to be flexible. Look, you know, people have been around for 2.5 million years, right? 2.5 million years. That's how long you guys have been doing this, making babies. And it turns out human beings are pretty tough and hard to kill. And if you express normal range of motion, probably the caveman wasn't out, you know, with the band doing some end range distraction, but there was probably a lot of squatting and hanging out, yeah? Now, Corinne, you were saying that you, while you felt like you became more mobile in the hips, you wish that it helped the shoulders and it didn't? Sorry about that. Thanks, you guys. Super coaches, about to make super children. MobilityWOD. Thanks, guys.